In the last movie, we took a look at refactoring and saw how refactoring can really help us to clean up our code and make it more flexible and reusable. And now we're ready to keep moving towards our end goal of getting this content management area working. And the next step along the way is going to be to turn each of those items in the navigation into a link that will actually do something for us, load something up over on the right-hand side in the content area. So let's try and do that now. We're going to open back up content.php, and we're going to want to make this subject name be a link. And we can just drop in an HTML link for that, ahref equals. I'm going to use double quotes, but notice that because I'm actually inside a set of double quotes already, I'm going to need to escape both of those, just like I did before with pages right below there. And so now this will work as a link. It's a link that won't go anywhere, but it's a link. And we'll just need to put our ending tag at the end of it. And I'll put the same link. I'll just copy it and paste it down here to page because we want to do the exact same thing to our pages. So we could bring that up in our browser now, and they would be links that do nothing. They go nowhere. But what we want to have is a link that will reload the content page, but with a get variable that we can then pull down and use to populate what's over on the right. But we're reloading the content page. Keep that in mind. We're making a dynamic page that can be used over and over and over again. So let's go ahead and tell it that the reference for this page is going to be content.php. And let's do the same thing for pages. I'm going to go ahead and just space this out. So now what we want to do is send an attribute along with content.php. And we saw how to do that back when we talked about using links. So we'll call this one subj for subject equals, and we're going to want to pass in the subject ID so that we can retrieve the subject ID later and do something with it. So let's go ahead. I see that I have subject ID right down here. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it right in there. Now jump to a new line. Don't let that worry you. We can always make a new space here if we need to. Remember that white space isn't significant in PHP. But I also noticed that there's a problem that came up, which is that now we have double quotes inside double quotes, and these aren't as easy to escape. Now I could change these into single tick marks like that, and that would certainly work for us. And that solves our problem right there. But I'm going to go ahead and do something else. Instead, I'm going to break out of this echo statement right here with the double quote, and then I'm going to concatenate. We know how to do that. We know that they're basically synonymous. So then I'm going to need to pick it up on the other side, and I only need to count my quotes there and make sure I've got it right. I do. And let's go ahead and just break that to the new line. So it's a little cleaner to see what's actually going on there. The reason I did that is because I also am going to need to do URL encoding on this ID. Remember, we talked about encoding back in the links chapter. So we'll go ahead and apply URL encode to this value. Now, is it absolutely necessary for us to have URL encoding on this? I mean, we are in the staff area. We have already verified this person has a username and a password if they've gotten this far. But the thing is, we might end up reusing this code in a public area. So I'm going to go ahead and play it safe and be very vigilant all the time, just so that if this happens to come up and get pulled into the public area at some point, I don't have to worry and start looking for security holes then. I'm watching out for the security holes while I'm designing. So now let's do the same thing to page. We'll put page equals, and then we'll break our double quotes. Same thing, and instead I'll concatenate in URL encode, and this one's just going to be page with ID. Let me just go and look at my quotes and make sure they're all right, because I did a lot of escaping quotes. I have one string here. I have another string here. These are escaped. Those are correct. These won't actually give me a problem because they're inside of those curly braces, but I could use single ticks as well. Let's try that. Let's load that up in our browser and see how we did. Come back over to Firefox, reload it, and now they're links. I don't have the links underlining in my style sheet. Instead, I'm just rolling over them and nothing's actually happening, but you can see that it's changing down at the bottom. So if I click on About, you'll see that it actually changed. It gave me subject ID equals 1. History gave me page equals 1, and so on. And now all we need to do is retrieve those values in order to populate what's going to be in that content area. And we'll do that in the next movie.